Just quick side note, I was so thankful when Janelle first started coming here, just because she's been such an encouragement to me personally. And thank you, Micah, for that little input about you writing. I found out I was saying this like when I walked in the door tonight. So I am the kind of person, if I don't like write down some bullet points of what I'm going to say, I'm going to come up here and just blank. Like I have no idea. It's like, okay, I learned tons of really cool things, and it's like, I can't remember any of them. So this weekend, like Micah said and Janelle said, he was such an incredible speaker because he wasn't just giving us a bunch of sermons that he had, pre-done and has said a bunch of times. He just showed us his devotions. Like he literally went through what it means to be a wholehearted believer, loving the Lord just with all that you are, because he said he was saved at a young age in a Christian home, and he was doing church for a while. He was going through the motions because he loved serving people. And that was something that really convicted me, because sometimes I love serving so much those people around me that you forget that the first commandment is to love God. So then, if your first focus is loving and serving people, you can become frustrated at times when things don't go your way or nobody notices. And it's like, okay, what was the real purpose of loving other people? It was originally because you love God. You're going to love other people. So, and then just thinking, like Janelle said, that he chose us. We read in Ephesians 1, he chose us, but he didn't just choose us once we were born and, I think, they're good looking or they're pretty smart. Oh, they crack me up all the time. No, he chose us before the foundation of the world. He knew that he was going to create humans and that they would reject him. They would spit in his face, they would mock him. And when you think of that, you think of the person in your life that you don't know how you could ever forgive them. And we did so much more. Joe gave us we brought us the scripture of Jesus giving the parable of the servant who was forgiven much. He was forgiven 10,000 talents. And he's explained that 10,000 talents, that was like 10,000 days' wages. I mean, we can't ever pay that debt off. But his Lord forgave him. And then he went and he wouldn't forgive someone else who owed him like $10. And how often do we do that? We forget how great a debt the Lord paid off for us. And then we don't forgive those who are around us who just did something really little to us. We hold grudges, we hold bitterness. And something that he reminded me of was finding the fruit. It's the fruit versus the root of the problem. So many times we see fruit in our lives, things we do, sinful things we do, and we try to, I need to be a good girl. I need to cut those things off so people can't see that fruit. So he gave the kind of the idea of, we have an apple tree. We have bad fruit, so we cut it off and we duct tape good fruit on. What's going to happen to the good fruit that we duct taped on? It's just going to rot. It really is. So we need to find out what the source of the problem is. If I have a sin problem, it's not the outworking of that problem I need to fix. It's what I believe about that problem, what I believe about that sin. If I have a sin problem, it means that I believe that sin doesn't matter. No one can see it. God can overlook at that. But how am I wholeheartedly devoted to him if I'm hiding that root? It doesn't just stay under the dirt. It comes out. Another thing he reminded me of, and something I hadn't thought of before, is the true source of joy. Yes, we know God is the true source of joy. And if we know that, why is there so much depression now? I have known so many people, and at times you can almost feel depressed just when you see the depravity around us, and you see one thing after the next, and it just makes you so depressed inside. At work, you see so many people who are on prescriptions for medications for depression, and it's sad. And it's like, why? And he said, people become depressed when their God, their ideal, their idol in their life dies. So think of a time when you've ever been like truly depressed. Why? Because your ideal of what a family should be didn't turn out what it ended up being. Your ideal of what a relationship should be didn't turn out how you thought it would. Because you're so focusing on trying to find that happiness and trying to find that joy in this, when you realize that you will never be satisfied with anything down here. Nothing is ever going to meet your expectations. Only God will, because he's the source of joy. Happiness down here, when a relationship works out, when your family is doing well, when you have friends, that's just a byproduct of who God is, because he's the source of joy. Another statement that he said was, our purpose is not to be sinless. So many times we make a checklist of things, I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do this. Our purpose is to seek the face of God, to become more like him. Shunning sin and all these things is just another byproduct of loving him. If you love your brother or sister, you're not going to want to be mean to them. When you love God, you're not going to want to sin against him. It'll hurt you to do things that make him sad. So those are just a couple of things. And then just end it with, is it worth it? Is loving God worth it? Because if he chose you before the foundation of the world, and he sent his only son, and he knew he was going to suffer, he knew it was worth it for you.